Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So the crypto market not faring too well over this last week or so. We're seeing small drops, but drops nonetheless. A bit of red in the space. The market cap at 233.6 billion. Bitcoin dominance going down just slightly at 65.9. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at 85.39. Ethereum 182 and XRP 0.262. And XRP is down 1.57%, around the same amount as Bitcoin. Bitcoin down 1.60%. And boy, guys, look at the stock market. This is the S&P 500 on the monthly, and I know this sounds kind of out of context right now, but I'm going to do a bit of an analysis for you guys because I saw this article. These 4 facts show how boring Bitcoin is crushing the stock market. And so for those of you guys who are wondering why I keep talking about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is essentially the roadmap for where cryptocurrencies could go once we see another spike. It has the most liquidity. It has the most value as of today. It has the name recognition. It has the history. Bitcoin is essentially the locomotive that will bring the cryptocurrency market back to life. And if you look at it all in perspective, so this article essentially gives you 4 factors as to why Bitcoin is indeed crushing the stock market. So Bitcoin, number 1, it has seen 150% gains versus the US stock market, 23% gains year to date. Okay, I'm just going to go over the points. I will link this in the description. Institutional interest in BTC gained steam in October. Okay, we saw some institutions getting into the crypto space at that point. Bitcoin transaction volume is recovering, and more mining power is entering Bitcoin's network. So I know I'm just glazing over some of these points as of now, but we really have to put it all in perspective, guys, and look at this. This is the S&P 500 on the monthly. And when you look at, let's take a look at Bitcoin first. We're going to get into XRP in a second. When you look at Bitcoin on the monthly, it just looks as if it has gone up, gone back down, shot back up again back this summer, and now struggling to kind of maintain this level of resistance. But realistically, guys, this time frame was only 2 years ago, okay? So we have to remember that. We have to understand that sometimes investments take longer than a couple of years in order for you to reap rewards. If you bought Apple stock back in 1984, you were literally waiting for 20 years to see exorbitant gains. By that time, there was the launch of the iPod. That's just one example. So you could have been holding Apple stock for 20 years and seeing virtually nothing in gains. And, there were people out there who just kept hodling and hodling, and eventually those who were patient were rewarded. But let's get back to this for a second. This is Bitcoin on the monthly, and when you compare it to the S&P 500, as they were comparing in this article, it looks like the S&P 500 chart, at least it looks more impressive than the Bitcoin chart, just from a visual standpoint at least. But guys, when you crunch the numbers, you got to realize, so I have up here Bitcoin versus the stock market, January 2016 until present. And again, January 2016, guys, that was only 4 years ago. So that would bring us to about here. Okay, so after there was a bit of a dump for the stock market, as we can see, it was chugging along since the crash. It hit a high in about May 2015, and then we saw it dump, okay? We saw it correct quite significantly. And then last December, I don't know if you guys remember, the stock market dumped again quite significantly. But nevertheless, if we take it from January 2016 all the way down here to present day, so almost 4 years, okay? The stock market saw an increase of 72.3%. Now that's a pretty good return on investment. Even if you were to have bought the index, right, the SPY, you would have made 72.3% in 4 years on your investment. That's a pretty good ROI as far as I'm concerned. And then you look at the Bitcoin chart. So let's get back to this, guys, and Bitcoin on the monthly. And again, we look at these, we watch these YouTube videos every day, we read the articles every day, and it feels like, if you have a week of down, you feel kind of down and you feel like, am I in the right thing? And am I second guessing my entire life and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, don't second guess. Let's just look at the numbers because math doesn't lie, folks, as you know. Bitcoin down here in January 2016 made a high by December 2017, and now is trading right back down here. So at the beginning of 2016, Bitcoin was trading at $352, currently now trading at $8,461.01, okay, which brings an increase of value of $2,300 and 3.69% in that same time frame, okay, since the beginning of January until present day. So even with these ups and downs, guys, when you look at it on the long term, we are still doing very, very well. Let's look at XRP just, as a matter of course here. So I'm going to bring up XRP on Poloniex because they have more history on their chart. And so, guys, as you can see here, back in January 2016, XRP was still trading at fractions of pennies, 0.0045 cents. Right now, trading at about 26 cents, okay, and that would bring XRP in the last 4 years up 5,677.77%. So yes, have we been holding XRP that long? No, we have not. Did we buy XRP, or maybe we bought Bitcoin at the height of the bull run? Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Maybe we bought it somewhere around here, maybe somewhere around here. Everybody's obviously different. The fact of the matter is you have to be patient in this market to reap these types of rewards, folks. I'm not going to dwell on that for too much longer. I saw this from XRP Crypto Wolf on Twitter. The U.S. Federal Reserve warns that a stablecoin crisis could wreak havoc on the global economy and outlined steps issuers can do to protect the status quo. So this is interesting because no one would have thought that stable coins could wreak havoc on the global economy. I mean, the price is stable. What could they possibly do to wreak havoc? So the U.S. Federal Reserve Board on Friday warned that a stablecoin crisis could wreak havoc on the global economy and outlined the steps issuers must take to protect the status quo. The central bank's prognosis, buried deep in the November edition of its semi-annual financial stability report, rests on a stablecoin worst-case outcome. So get this, guys, a run on the issuers in which coin holders panic en masse and demand the return of the fiat they staked. So as you know, stablecoins are backed by fiat currency. So let's say there were a bunch of people who, instead of fiat, put their money into stablecoins. And then let's say there's a run on the issuer. So in this case, there wouldn't be a run on the bank. There'd be a run on the issuer for those particular stable coins. And then they would have to relinquish the fiat, give it back to the holder so that they can get their one-to-one exchange. Well, that in itself causes a micro crisis in its own kind of bubble. Stablecoins are a form of cryptocurrency that maintain value, right? So it's explaining that here. The report's concern is that something could go wrong with the way stablecoins work, be it with operation, liquidity, or credit. This loss of confidence could lead to a run. In an extreme scenario, holders may be unable to liquidate with potentially severe consequences for domestic or international economic activity, asset prices, or financial stability. So nobody would ever have thought that there could be a run on stablecoins, and it's like a run on the banks. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, a bank run is also known as a run on the banks, and it occurs when many clients withdraw their money from a bank because they believe the bank may cease to function in the near future. And that causes a liquidity crisis, right? The bank doesn't actually have all your money sitting in its vault. It lends money out. Well, they're suggesting the same could happen with stablecoins if people rely too much on this. And this goes back to the whole Libra situation too, right? If people rely too much on putting their money into something that is stable and holding it there, well, let's say they want the fiat back for whatever reason, and let's say there's a problem, well, there could be a run on the stable coin. In and of itself, it could cause a liquidity crisis within that whole ecosystem. So very interesting that people are, potentially pointing out these issues before they become an issue. I'm sure this will fly under the radar of many, but, it's great to point these things out, and just points to another reason why XRP as that bridge currency makes the most sense. You don't need stable coins in the XRP ecosystem. You can use XRP to bridge fiat to fiat in seconds. No one's holding anything for longer than that. So really interesting point here. I saw this from the XRP Arcade. XPRING invests in ALKEMI. So ALKEMI, an on-chain liquidity protocol, is a non-custodial solution for stakeholders to earn incentives on their idle crypto assets while providing the infrastructure required for exchanges to stabilize market prices. So this will result in a crypto asset liquidity superhighway that not only creates a bridge between custodial and non-custodial platforms, but also drastically a more efficient, transparent, and secure mechanism. So this from Bank XRP, he posts this tweet. Guys, again, I'll link all this in the description if you want to read about this further. Another XPRING initiative that will be using XRP as that bridge, as I was saying before. And then I saw this guy's on Twitter from DM Logic, and it is a good question. DM Logic retweeting this from Barry Curley at BL Curley on Twitter with regards to Jed McCaleb. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Jed McCaleb was one of the original founders of the Ripple company, had a lot to do with the company in the beginning, and then left to start Stellar. Jed wants out of XRP. Ripple must want Jed out of XRP. How is it that Ripple hasn't orchestrated an OTC trade to end this relationship and put it behind XRP holders? Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Jed McCaleb also holds a lot of XRP in the billions. So quite a lot. And some people are saying that this could be potentially why the price is remaining low. Because with a lot of people holding a lot of XRP, there needs to be mechanisms in place so that it doesn't, so the market doesn't fluctuate when there are mass trades. We know Jed has been getting rid of his XRP regularly. Obviously, he has his own project, Stellar, and they're doing their thing. There were some fundamental differences right at the beginning, and so some people are responding to this. XRP Hong Kong says Ripple are run by some of the best in the industry. I'm sure when the opportunity presents itself, they will try to get rid of this threat. Leonidas states that 4.5 billion XRP is a lot. That is apparently what Jed McCaleb holds right now. Is that what he started with or has left to sell? What's left in the largest wallet plus some loose change? Ouch. Michael Nardolio pipes in, Ripple didn't want Jed to dump on the market. It's why they went to court to uphold the original steps after he tried dumping and made a new deal based on the agreed amount between ledger trade volume and off-ledger trade volume. So there was an issue where Jed was dumping XRP into the market. This was having a negative impact on the ecosystem. And so see, these are some problems that arise, right? When you have people holding so much of the asset that you're trying to work with. And nobody could have ever thought that Jed McCaleb would have left Ripple to start his own company way back in 2014 or whenever, he was still with the company. These are all points of interest that are, floating around in the space, and people are concerned about it. Obviously, if you hold XRP, you would be concerned about this. Can't they just make an OTC trade deal? Guys, I'll link this specific tweet thread in the description of this video if you want to pipe in, if you want to chime in, maybe you have some ideas. You can also put them in the comments of this video because I love hearing what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.